Good evening. You are watching the news on DBS television. On our headlines tonight, the prevalence rate of COVID-19 in Cameroon is becoming more of a disturbing issue, with a growing number in the number of infections and deaths in the country. After releasing the official statistics recently, the Minister of Public Health has called on all Cameroonians to be serious about respecting COVID-19 restrictive measures. The arrest of a notorious group of thieves in the town of Nkongsamba brings joy and peace to the populations, many of whom had suffered enormous material loss. Now they say they can rest at peace with less fear for their lives and their properties. And in the town of Yaoundé, conflicts between tomato vendors and the city council is far from being solved. This after the people complained about being harassed after exercising their right. These are the top stories that we have for you tonight on this edition of the news. Stay with us and get the details in a moment. Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. This is a 7 p.m. edition of the newscast in the English language on DBS TV. I am Cynthia Ngwemu. On our news tonight, we begin with a group of men of the underworld in the town of Nkongsamba who have been arrested recently by forces of law and order, that is in the littoral region of the country. The men, some of whom are well known for carrying out acts of theft, were presented to the population as well as to the administration. Mange Venasius completes that story.
5 motorcycles, 18 motorpomps, bags of flour and rice, boxes of tires, bales of clothes and shoes, screens, sound systems, handsets, gas bottles, beddings and sports accessories, items stolen from homes, shops and even from churches. These were recovered thanks to several weeks of operations by the forces of law and order at Nkongsamba Mongo North Gendarmerie. Here, these stolen items were exhibited and those behind them presented to the authorities. The population saluted the initiative, coordinated by Captain Mebois Daniel Fritz, company commander of the Nkongsamba Mongo North Gendarmerie. Among the thieves was a well-known truant, known to the administration as well as the population of Nkongsamba and beyond. 21-year-old Njomo Boris, aka Picard, has been notorious in the town where he has been intimidating the population for long. He has been to a number of prisons in the region. At the end of the presentation, the population was called to identify and collect their items upon presentation of original receipts.
As we told you in our headlines, the Minister of Public Health, Dr. Manauda Malachi, has called on all Cameroonians to be serious and strict in the respect of COVID-19 restrictive measures in order to stem down the spread of the virus in Cameroon. He made this call following an increase in the number of cases and deaths as reported recently. Mange Venasius tells us more in the following report.
35 deaths recorded within a week for 800 of 1,000 new cases detected in Cameroon, making the concern for COVID-19 fight in the country a priority that needs the active participation of everyone if we intend to bar the way to the deadly virus from spreading in Cameroon. That is the concern of the Minister of Public Health as he presents latest statistics to the public, with the call for maximum respect of barrier measures coming at a time when most Cameroonians had neglected the respect of safety protocols that were regarded as life-saving. The minister, speaking through the state broadcaster, indicated that hospitalization has also gone up, with the bed occupancy rate from 0.5% to 5%. As a way out, the minister indicated that improved measures of screening are being adopted so as to give way to transparency, while looking forward to a vaccine that will be administered on a voluntary basis. Thus, as the minister said, will be an issue of last resort, as the head of state has instructed health officials to prepare for the eventuality of the vaccine if it becomes a necessity. As such, the vaccination campaign as of now is not an urgent issue in Cameroon.
In other news stories, the mayor of Yaoundé too has called on tomato vendors to be calm and return to their activities while the council seeks permanent or lasting solutions to their preoccupations. The assurance was given to them after they had some conflicts with some council workers who unlawfully sealed their business against the will or knowledge of the council. Details of this story with Ate Bonaventure in Yaoundé.
A lorry of tomatoes seized for not paying occupational tax. A surprising act that is contrary to the decision of the city council and that of the Yaoundé 2 council suspending the payment of parking tax at Marché 8e until further notice. The occupants of this market have highlighted a series of problems that are still being examined. Here the market is closed every Wednesday and our products get perished. Our tomatoes get rotten and they keep insisting that we must pay 150 francs per basket and even threatening to take us to the station and lock us up. They have been telling us how the delegate for national security is already aware of this case and that they are waiting for him to act. That's how they threaten traders and extort money from them. The main preoccupation of these tomato vendors, most of whom hail from the West region, is to do their business in a problem-free environment. Tribalism is reported to be a worrying factor here. We have even called on the head of state to come to our rescue because we are under threat and we feel like we are lesser Cameroonians. There is a lot of tribalism here and corruption. I even went to see the city mayor to complain, and he said that if we think we are not at ease, we should go back to where we are coming from. Personally representing the mayor of Yaoundé 2, the first deputy mayor has reassured the complainants that their plight will be resolved with immediate effect. The wish of the council is to collaborate with a market community made of peaceful, tolerant, and law-abiding citizens.
And as a follow-up to that report, the occupational crisis that is ongoing between tomato distributors and the city council in Yaoundé still persists and is far from being solved. Ate Bonaventure, who has been following up the situation, tells us that the traders are complaining of being threatened after exercising their rights. His report.
The Association of Tomato Vendors, dubbed ASCOTO, is claiming to have legal authorization to run the affairs of the 8e tomato market in Yaoundé with documents to prove the respect for their financial obligations with the Yaoundé City Council. Mr. Timie Vuna, former government delegate, couldn't resolve this problem because it wasn't a small problem. On June 7, the city mayor arrived and gave the management of the market to Minjeme David. Meantime, they have had a 5-year contract and had only worked for 18 months, plus 2 months that made it 20 months, says one of the members of the association. The problem stems from a misunderstanding between the Yaoundé 2 Council and the City Council concerning tax collection. Council authorities have recently met with the traders and made promises, but their worries are yet to be resolved. He adds that the mayor of Yaoundé 2 intervened and said taxes shall hence be paid to the council and not to the city council. They were collecting 5,000 per vehicle, and then the mayor of the Yaoundé 2 council arrived and asked them to pay 2,000 francs. At the moment the problem started, and they were confused on whether to pay 2,000 or 5,000 and later settled for 2,000. Recently, they have been asked not to pay anything until the problem between the city council and the local council is resolved. The first deputy mayor of the Yaoundé 2 council was here 3 days ago, and yet the problem persists. The traders say they have been summoned to the Court of First Instance of Yaoundé, where they will be answering charges this Wednesday against what they have been posing here as problem against the authorities. According to the traders here, a new association that was recently formed is battling with them to claim authority over this market, which they have had the authorization to run for many years now, and they have been paying their taxes, and so they have been calling on the powers that be to do something so that they can be given the rights as the real managers of this tomato market here in Yaoundé. Reporting for DBS Television, I am Ate Bonaventure.
And over in the north region of Cameroon, some 6 health districts in Garoua 2 municipality have just received or recently received some health equipment that would help them to ameliorate the health conditions of the people. The donation exercise took place recently under the watchful eyes of Mayor Umaru Sanda, a gesture which our reporter tells us that was heartily received by both the population and the health personnel. Nde Vanessa Shuyo.
60 beds, 60 mattresses, 60 bed gallows and 6 wheelchairs have been donated to 6 health districts in the Garoua 2 municipality by Mayor Umaru Sanda. The items meant for Galbije, Pumpure, Rumde Aja, Lid Ire Kota, Takasko, and Nasarau were donated to alleviate the health and living conditions of the population of these localities. After constructing these health centers, it was important and necessary to equip them, explains the first council magistrate. He pleaded with the mayor and directors of the health centers to regularly renovate and properly maintain the equipment of these structures. He encouraged the health personnel, promising that other health assistants will come from the University of Bagante to reinforce the staff so as to meet the demands of the population. The senior divisional officer of the Benue Division, Umaru Hamanwabi, said the actions of the mayor highlights government's effort to address key health system challenges faced by most hospitals in the North region and the Grand North in general, and provides appropriate healthcare services. A gesture well received and appreciated by the population and health personnel, as it will provide an added impetus to joint efforts to achieve sustainable development goals.
In sports, civil-military sporting activities have resumed in Abongbang, that is in the east region of Cameroon, after some months of pause due to the coronavirus pandemic. The traditional bi-monthly sport activities aimed at cohesion between the population and security forces resumed over the weekend with an encounter between youth of Abongbang in the Upper Nyong Division and forces of defense and security. It also brought out populations of the town who cheered participants as they carried out stretching exercises and a foot race in the town. The populations used the occasion to appreciate the Cameroonian army for their efforts to not only protect the people but also to get closer to them. Take note that this sporting activity is an initiative of the SDO of Abongbang in the east region of Cameroon. Still in sport, Cameroon's under-20 Lions are set to face the under-20 Black Satellites of Ghana in the quarter-finals of the ongoing Total Africa Under-20 Cup of Nations in Mauritania. Cameroon's Young Lions got their tickets to the quarter-finals after beating Mozambique 4-1 in their last group game on Saturday. The team have this far been outstanding in the ongoing competition as they finished top of Group A with 9 points. The Black Satellites of Ghana, on the other hand, suffered a devastating defeat of 1-2 to the Young Scorpions of Gambia in their last Group C match yesterday Monday evening, but still qualified for the quarter-finals. The two teams would therefore face each other on Thursday, February 25 at the Stade Olympia in Nouakchott, that is in Mauritania. Now we talk news out of Cameroon, beginning with the Democratic Republic of Congo, where the Italian ambassador to the country alongside 2 other people are reported to have been killed in an attack which is suspected to be carried out by some military or by some terrorist groups in the country. However, the known terrorist groups have refused responsibility for the attack. And in Uganda, opposition politician Bobi Wine has announced the withdrawal of a petition of his to contest the victory of President Yoweri Museveni in the last presidential election. These stories are in our Africa Roundup page with intern Rogea Tububa.
The Italian ambassador to the Democratic Republic of Congo and 2 others were killed yesterday in an attack on a United Nations convoy in the east of the country, Goma. The Italian government confirmed the death of the ambassador, Luca Antanasio, 43 Italian military police, 30 and a Congolese driver. The Italian president, Sergio Mattarella, condemns the attack and offered his expression of sympathy to the families of the victims. The exact circumstances of the attack remain unclear. The rebels are said to have stopped the World Food Programme convoy with bullets before bringing down the passengers on board, including the ambassador. Atanasio is the second European ambassador to have been killed while serving in the Democratic Republic of Congo. However, rebels denied killing the diplomat. A Hutu rebel group has denied any role in Monday's killing of Italy's ambassador to the Democratic Republic of Congo. Uganda opposition leader Bobi Wine has withdrawn a Supreme Court challenge to the re-election of President Yoweri Museveni. President Yoweri Museveni won a 6th term in office with 58% of votes in the January presidential election. Bobi Wine, singer turned lawmaker, came second with 35% of votes and described the election as a sham. Speaking during a conference in Kampala, Bobi Wine announced the withdrawal of his case, claiming the courts are not independent. Lawyers of the ruling resistance movement said Bobi Wine will face heavy financial implications if he withdraws the petition.
That marks the end of this edition of the news on DBS Television with me, Cynthia Ngwemo. Thank you for watching. Have a lovely evening on DBS Television and see you tomorrow, God willing. Goodbye.